And we back. The Elle Duncan show with my girl, Ari Chambers, who got a total upgrade. We finally worked out all the kinks. She is in appropriate lighting as she should be.
With your name in the back, Elle.
Yes, exactly. So it's, there's definitely people who are very lazy, Ari, that will just see like the screen grab of this on Twitter and be like, they messing up they black girls. That ain't Elle Duncan. Oh my God. They don't even know the black girls apart. I'm like, y'all chill. Isn't
We
that
just
seem
we're
like a
just
very
very spirited about our sisters here. That's
there
what
it
it is.
is. Yeah. I mean, my girls literally have my back. Like quite literally in this situation have my
Right
back.
there.
So glad that you came back, Ari. A lot to get to today because it is Thursday night as the time of this taping, and we have a huge game in women's college basketball. We talked about it the other day on the show, one of the better rivalries in sports, Notre Dame, UConn.
Hmm.
Okay, so we're gonna do some overreactions in women's college basketball, and
Hmm.
it'll be slay or nay. So yes, you agree, or nay,
Okay.
you disagree. Are you ready?
Okay. Hmm.
Slay or nay, UConn, the clear favorite to win it all in March.
Clear's dramatic. It can't like clear. Let's be for real. In the parody of women's college basketball, please. Uh, they're a favorite, so I'm gonna go nay
Okay,
because clear is crazy.
correct. Well, I think also, it always, I want so hard to be like, yeah, to predict what's going to happen with UConn in March. But the past few years have just scared the shit out of me
Yeah.
because they always get hurt. It's tough. It's
Hmm.
tough to like outlook UConn because you don't want to like tempt fate. We're already
Hmm.
like looking at what's going on with AZ. And so I
Hmm.
need to see a few more things. And to your point, I just think that it's so early in the season. Like there were teams last year that we thought like were really rounding into form right around now. And we were doing a lot of
Hmm.
predicting and then they fell off a damn map. Or
Yep.
conversely, teams that see, kind of came out of nowhere that we didn't expect. So I think I'll nay that one as well.
Yeah.
How about this one?
Hmm.
Slay or nay? Tennessee can make a challenge for the SEC title.
Can they make a challenge for it?
Yes.
Slay. Um, but in a conference where they have South Carolina, Texas now,
LSU.
LSU, Ole
Mhm.
Miss, and you never know what day you're gonna get with Ole Miss. But they were one shot away from it last year with Kelly Harper
Oh
leading
my
them
gosh.
clearly. I
How
mean,
brutal was that?
Camilla. Why right now? I mean, yay
Off
for your team, but Kelly was sick.
Ari. So the thing is, so we were at game day, getting
Uh-huh.
ready to do the ACC championship. We saw you there.
Mhm.
And so we're in a conference room. You know how it is post production.
Oh.
We're in a conference room. We're watching that game. We're with Drea. And
Mhm.
Drea is obviously she's a Lady Vol. For those of you that don't know, she reps hard for her team. But Drea is also like a great analyst above all else. Like she is
Yep.
not emotional at all when it comes to this. She
Love
will
that for
give real
her.
feedback. Like she's so
Yeah.
good at it. So
Yeah.
she really isn't like obviously she'd like for her team to win, but she really never is like this has to happen. Like she doesn't lose her but we're watching this and we're thinking like, oh snap, like here we go. Like South Carolina is going to lose. And so we start like we're sitting there and we're all starting to map out how we're going to like look at the next game and how we're going to sort of
Uh-huh.
outlook. And we're planning for Tennessee to win the game because it looked like it was going to happen. And then Camilla hits that basket and
Because
Drea
why
just
would she
goes,
do that? Like the one time it was second three of her whole career.
like ever, like yes, and it was her second attempt. It was her first one she'd ever made. It
Hilarious.
it off the glass, like it was just ridiculous. And Drea just stands up and goes, come on, dog," and just like walks out of the room.
That's
It
such
was
a Dre thing to do.
yeah, come on,
Come
man. It
on,
was
dog.
wild. It was wild. So you're right. They were really close. I'm with you. Certainly they can make a challenge, but it's not just South Carolina, it's LSU as well. And LSU is one of those teams that, you mentioned it. Kim Mulkey likes to start her season slow. She likes to build.
Hmm.
The year that they won the national championship, how much time did we spend going, their strength of schedule? I don't know.
Yep.
I don't know. And that's ultimately why
She
they
said,
ended up being a
we're
three
resting
seed.
them. Hmm.
Yeah, that's ultimately why they ended up being a three seed, and I believe at the time the lowest three seed or the lowest seed to win a national championship. So I like need
But
to see more
Texas
from
this year,
LSU.
L,
I
and then
know.
you have Kenny Brooks at Kentucky. You never know, like if Georgia Amore and all like do what they need to do. The SEC is more stacked than you can consider off top. And I'm like, can they make a challenge? Yes. Now,
Yeah,
will that challenge be successful?
yeah, exactly. Yes, yes.
Yes.
That was such a cop out answer from us both. We said,
Yeah.
can they?
Can
Yeah.
they?
Will
I go by
they?
exactly how it's worded. Elle, you said, can they?
We
They
did. Can
can.
they? And then we're
Slay.
like, but will
Slay. Work. Just like last one. Clear. Nay. Not clear.
they? All right. Slay or nay, South Carolina repeats as champs.
Oh, this one's worded. I can't cop out. You know what? You know what? Slay. Slay. They had they had their awakening, right? When they got that loss that they did not predict. And those slow starts that they have been accustomed to, now they have a little bit of fire. It's really hard to go back to back in college. It really is. And so like everything rationally seems like a nay. But if there's anybody that can go back to back, it's South Carolina. They're well coached. They know how to deal with the moment. They're stacked so deep. They're so aggressive. I said this last show, they get in your soul like ether. Okay.
Mm.
And they burn slow. They burn slow. And it's it's hard for people to match up against them because you never know what Don's going to pull out at you. You never know how hard the defense is going to hit you, but it's going to hit you hard. Um, slay, slay.
I'll go with Slay here for a more of an intangible than just the players that are on the court, who are all phenomenal. They are still trying to figure out how to replace Camila Cardoso, and rightfully
Mm-hmm.
so, right? It's hard to replace someone who is that dominant in the post, who so much of your offense ran through. So they're still working on that part, but this is the same team that won a national championship last year, and a part of why they won it, and the thing that, when we asked Dawn over and over what makes this team different than the other teams that she had had, was that they just do not ever panic. Like they just
Yep.
don't panic.
Yep.
They stay very even keeled,
Oh,
and
for
like
sure.
they're confident, but not in a way that. And she talked about, even after the national championship, she was like, it was weird though, because before the national championship, they were so frenetic, their energy was off, and I was concerned. I was like, this is either going to go really poorly or really well
Mm-hmm.
based on how they're acting, because they never act
Mm-hmm.
like this. And sure enough, what did they do? Right? Like they got down early and they kept their cool, and they didn't panic, and they didn't just start throwing up desperation shots, and they started making, one bucket, one block, one steal, and before you knew it, what was once a 15-point lead shrunk to, a couple of points before the half. So I think, to me, like that's what it takes to repeat. You're getting everybody's best shot. You're South Carolina.
Yep.
You are the team. You are the standard bearer at this point. But a team that doesn't turn on each other, a team that's worked together through adversity and all the things they had to deal with last year, and a team that's already faced a little adversity early on in the season with expectations and all those things. Like I think that's a team that can go back to back. And
They
so
know
I
how
would
to
go say,
win, and
yeah,
culture wins championships. They have a
correct.
great culture.
Yep.
They are connected. They respect Dawn Staley. They bought
Correct.
into their system. And Dawn
Yeah.
is the type of coach that she's going to run her system, whether you like it or not. And you can tell her players just have a love and respect for it. The ones who stay in that program always
Yeah.
reap the benefits. Slay.
A slay. Okay, this is going to be a spicy one. Are you ready?
No.
This is spicy. This is spicy.
Do I like spice? Am I ready for spice, Elle?
It's spicy because you know who we're referring to that we're not naming here when we prop this person up.
Okay.
Hannah Hidalgo of Notre Dame is the country's best sophomore.
Elle,
That is to say, Hannah Hidalgo is better than Juju Watkins.
I
Is
know
that
what
what
you're
we're
saying.
saying?
I know what you're saying. Elle, are we looking at the whole breadth of work or are we looking at the past 3 weeks?
I
Because
mean,
right
I would
now,
I would say sophomore. Let's say sophomore campaign. Because no, I
sophomore
don't, yes,
campaign. Ooh,
sophomore campaign.
even still, even still. Okay. I'm gonna do a Slane. Sue me.
What a cop out.
Slane.
Why?
Because
Explain your
okay,
point.
comprehensively,
Yes.
from the past 2 years, I would say Juju Watkins still has her. And I know that we've rephrased the question, but Juju Watkins, she has been able to have a renaissance of Southern California basketball. People game plan around Juju,
Yeah,
right? I don't think that Hannah is at a point where people are game doing their whole scout to stop her,
they need to.
right? I know they do need to.
Probably
It's
why
time to
she's
wake
going
up.
off.
It's time to wake up because
It's
what she
time.
averaging 24.6, 6.8, 3.3, and 4.1. So like filling the stat sheet, doing everything she needs to do on both sides of the floor. Hannah Hidalgo is a problem. But if I'm looking at the class and if they were to go now, like I'm banking on Juju as the player. Like she draws the most attention. She's in a little bit of a slump, but she's not though. Like her scoring is great. Two-way player though, and how they're playing now. I would say Hannah does have a campaign for best sophomore. I'm talking in circles now. God, Jesus, I'm trying to cop out, but I cannot. Um, L, 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 L.
She's like, bail me out. I'll give you a cop out answer so we can both be copping out together.
Love.
I think you're right. I think ultimately, Juju Watkins is so next level, and she is going to be one of those, again, a transcendent player. Like apart from even just what she does on the court, which is phenomenal. I would say if we're just talking about right now,
Mhm.
like just judging the few weeks of the season that we're in right now, who's having the best sophomore campaign? Not necessarily
Yeah.
who's the best sophomore, but
Yeah.
let's say who's having the best sophomore campaign. I do
It's
think it's Hannah
Hannah. It's
Hidalgo.
Hannah.
Yeah, I do. Because right now, like she's contending with Paige Beckers for Player of the Year, which
Yeah.
is
And,
actually one of
and
the other questions we
honestly,
pulled in.
Juju seems uncomfortable with the additions of her team right now. They're still trying to figure out how
Yes,
to work together.
correct.
And that is to her detriment when it comes to overall impact right now. She's still putting up the Juju Watkins numbers, but she doesn't look as comfortable as she did her freshman
Yeah,
season.
she's
And I
turning the
think
ball
that,
over a little bit. Yeah.
yeah. And it comes with
Hmm.
the pressure of how well of a, or how great, amazing of a season she had last season. You often, that's why it's called a sophomore slump, right? But Hannah
Yeah.
Hidalgo is coming off of, like, she's had an injured team. They're coming into full health. They look like a well-oiled machine minus those two losses. Like Hannah Hidalgo plays both sides of the floor very hard. She's pesky. She's leading her team in points in the paint too. So like
Yeah,
it's like she's getting whatever she wants. She is working
exactly.
these people, and they need to start paying more attention to her. But Notre Dame has those threats that you have to spread the scout. But Slay, Slay, Hannah Hidalgo, best sophomore season.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Hannah is averaging more steals than turnovers.
Yeah,
How? And also
she's
scoring
wild.
25 points and all, like I and rebounds. She's just you know what the thing about Hannah is and why she's one of my favorite players to watch. Last year, whenever people would be like, who's a player, other than Caitlin that we should be watching? And would just say Hannah Hidalgo because she's a menace. Like,
Mm-hmm.
she's a
That's all you can
menace.
say. She is a menace.
She's a
She is.
menace. She's so like fiery and fast. She has this frenetic pace, which sometimes, in her freshman year could lead to some costly turnovers. And it was one of those things you just lived with. But she's cut
Mm-hmm.
that down a bit as well. And again, like she'll pick your pocket. She's just ridiculous. Watching her, it's just like every time I watch her, I'm like, man, this is some nasty work. I
It
cannot.
is.
In fact, let's get into this game, please. Let's
Okay.
get into
Okay.
this
Okay.
game, please,
Let's do it.
because I'm so excited for Notre Dame UConn, and we got a little bit into it. I just think, when you talk about the backcourts, like,
Mm-hmm.
we wondered, like, with this Notre Dame team that probably overachieved considering they didn't have Olivia Miles for the whole season and they overachieved last year because of Hannah Hidalgo. Do you remember we just kept fantasizing about what it would look like to have both of them and who would be the primary ball handler and like who would be, and it's gone swimmingly. Olivia's doing really well. Like they are a fun duo to watch. And I
Mm-hmm.
love Sonia Citron. I've,
Yep.
she's just been like one of those glue players that when we talk about Notre Dame because of Olivia, because of Hannah, we don't mention Sonia as much, but she's so great. And then, you got Paige Beckers, like you got the
Yep.
buckets. I'm
Page
super,
buckets.
like, what are you most excited for in this one?
I'm most excited to see the Paige Hannah back and forth. I cannot wait to see um them take it personally, right? So
Yeah.
Notre Dame has beat UConn the past two times that they faced off, I believe.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
UConn, how you gonna bounce back? But it's funny, everybody's looking at this game like, what are they gonna do without AZ Fudd? But I'm also looking at it like they're kind of accustomed to this. And this is so sad because I want basketball to love AZ the way AZ loves basketball. I
I
want her
know.
to not have to face these injuries. Thank God it's just a knee sprain. So she's only out for, like, she's on a day-to-day
Yeah.
basis. But I'm looking forward to the ego coming into play and saying, hey, we're not going to lose to you all three times in a row.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to Notre Dame being like, oh, you think you're about to beat us? Let's show you why we're so deep and healthy and stacked this season. I'm looking for this rivalry that's dating back to what, 96? Um, Seeing what it's made of and why, and people were being reminded that UConn Notre Dame is a rivalry and the one that we should respect. It's not just UConn Tennessee. It's not just LSU Iowa. This is a very long-standing rivalry with 55 matchups where like four of the past seven has been UConn losing. So like Yeah, and then like Battle of Player of the Year, Elle. We just talked about it. Like
Yeah.
National Player of the Year. You're gonna
Yeah.
see them on the court today.
And they'll probably be, there's an article up on ESPN.com right now too, where Charlie Cream and Alexa Philippou and Michael Vogt will get into some potential implications. I mean, listen, it's December, but some potential implications down the road, down the line for March Madness and seeding as well, right? Like both these teams are vying for a one seed. What kind of implications could a loss here mean? They obviously still both have like really solid wins on the season and have a few more to go. Um, but the Irish have already lost twice. So
Yeah,
they
I
do have
think
wins
Notre
over
Dame needs it
USC and
more.
Texas. They absolutely need this game more, right?
They need it more, and they have a harder conference. Let's just be
Yes.
real. Like
Yeah.
Big East
Yeah.
versus the ACC, you're going to be battle tested way more. You need this win, especially if you're fighting for one seed with already coming into it two losses.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Um, no, I totally agree with you. And then UConn would be able to say, and I think that, any potential rankings or committee when they look at these losses would also say, oh yeah, but they lost with no AZ FUD, which is like again so disappointing because
They
we
lost to
could have really
Utah.
seen we could have seen the best two backcourts, you know what I mean, in the country, two of the best rather facing each other, but AZ is out. So yeah, I think this one's going to be a really good one. I'm really interested to see, like, especially on a national stage, one of the
Mm-hmm.
players that like was sort of promised to be this next like big great UConn sort of basketball player was Ice Brady as well. And I would
Mm-hmm.
just love for her to have like a big coming out game.
Mm-hmm.
Um to just sort of introduce herself to the national audience the way that we thought that she would. Obviously her freshman year was derailed with an injury, but I
Mm-hmm.
really want to see Ice Brady like have a big game. I think it's going to be pretty imperative into winning this game as well.
She had an impressive game at the last game that they played against Louisville. And
Yeah.
so I was impressed with her there. I'm going to see how she steps up with Sarah Strong.
Yeah.
That's another one I'm looking forward to seeing. Sarah Strong has been a stellar freshman. Her rebounding ability is insane.
Oh yeah.
Her body is just
Hmm.
insane. And I know UConn's been very, very happy with her involvement, her activity, her just being a solid player for them and a future star for them. But yeah, her alongside Ice Brady because they're gonna have to do the work because they don't have AZ Flood. They don't have that
Yeah.
offense there. But again, AZ's only played 5 games this season, and they're kind of accustomed to her being injured. So that's sad, but it's true. And I want to see how they're going to be able to face a Notre Dame that could have been that great matchup all up and down the board.
Yeah, I mean, they went to a Final Four without AZ. She missed
Yeah.
all but two games last season. So unfortunately, because of all of the injuries, they've learned to, have the next man up, next woman up,
Next
um,
woman up.
next woman up. But yeah, so that's going to be a great one, and I'm super excited about it, and I can't wait. Uh, they want you before we close the show to give a way too early WNBA prediction,
Oh
Ari.
God.
Way
Um
too early. That's the beautiful part about these things. If you're right,
yeah,
we
if
can
I'm
run
right.
this tape. We can run this tape a year later and be like, Ari called it.
It's
She's an Oregon.
okay. I'm gonna give a roundabout and then I'm gonna land it. I promise I'll
Okay.
land it.
Okay.
Free agency this year is going to be insane.
Hmm.
There's going to be so much movement because of Golden State's addition and the fact that players have been only signing 1 year deals because of the CBA renegotiation.
Hmm.
Kelsey Plum, I see her going to LA and really helping LA get back to the sparks of, the past. And so I think she's going to find her fit there. I think that she could be a great addition to that team. And a happy Kelsey Plum it translates on the court. So just seeing that addition, I'm curious about it. So I think LA is going to finish in a top 5 spot. That's a really, really bold prediction, but I like to make things spicy. Now, do I necessarily believe it right now? No. But I'm gonna just
It's a
shout it
bold
out there.
prediction. Yeah, that's why
There,
it's a
there it
bold
is.
prediction.
LA top 5 spot. I will say, I don't know. I'll say that Paige and Arike are gonna be a 1-2 punch that we don't expect because everybody's like, how are they gonna work together? Arike is going to be more efficient this year because she has the help of Paige and she doesn't have to be out of position like she has been in the past. And Dallas is going to get significantly better too. Is that too copy out? Do I need a
No,
final say? There we
not at
go.
all.
Those are my two predictions. LA
I
and
like
Dallas are
your, I
going to
mean, the,
significantly.
the Kelsey Plum is like a real true prediction. Before all of the madness in their organization, I really thought Kelsey Plum would go to Seattle. I did.
Yeah.
But Seattle's in such bad shape that the Valkyries didn't even want none of their players. That ain't that a shame?
Oh,
So
Hema
we're good.
said we want to treat the players like human, and we don't want to add something that we won't use. And so I don't know what's going on with Seattle. I just know the
That's what I'm saying.
Valkyries
But
like we
I think it's
just
more of a front office play than it is
yeah
the players that are there. I think it's more of a
yeah
front office play. They're like, you know what? We don't want to deal
we're
with y'all at
good
all.
we're good
We're gonna let y'all sort whatever's going on. Y'all need everyone.
yeah y'all
Y'all
figure it out.
y'all need to figure that out, and we're going to
Oh, what if Joel Lloyd goes to New York? I would love it.
wow.
Do they
Okay.
afford her? We don't know.
I
But
don't
what if she
know.
goes to New York?
That would be wild. You know what?
Mhm.
Connecticut's really got to try to make a play for someone too. I don't think that, do you think Alyssa and Dewan are going to go back? I don't. I think they're going to need to make
No.
a play for somebody. I could see them maybe trying to make a play for Jewel as well. I don't know that she,
If
want to
if
play.
I'm Dewana, I want to go back to Phoenix and retire there.
Ah,
If I'm Dewana, I'm taking my butt right on back to Phoenix and with that new facility that Ka and Natasha always show off. Tampering. No, that they always show off and live my best rest of the years there.
ooh, let's make a prediction there because you brought up Phoenix.
Mm.
Does D retire? Is Diana Taurasi done or
Diana
what?
Taurasi is going to be playing basketball the next 10 years, Elle. She is never leaving. She is never, and she's gonna take the max every time. Yeah, she should. Should
As she
like,
should. Get your money,
like
sis.
if you work,
Get
we
your
don't take
money.
pay decreases. Might as well get all the money, get the max money. But no, Diana's playing. I don't see her retiring.
I really don't. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if she would want to take on one of those like Udonis Haslam roles, right? Like where you're like a player coach. I don't know if
Yeah.
that interests her. I have no idea. It feels like if she was gonna retire, maybe she would have done it already, or maybe not. Like
No,
maybe
she
like
likes to. She's spicy. She's like,
yeah,
hey,
she's
or
spicy.
whatever.
She's gonna let it play out. And I think like maybe it's one of those decisions. We actually do see this a lot, on the men's side as well. When right before the thought of training camp and those kinds of things, like we always assume that they know once they've had their
Yeah.
last season, right? Like at the end of the
Yeah.
season, they're like, that was my last season. Sometimes they do. But I think sometimes I've heard athletes say that like it's the buildup to
Mm-hmm.
the onslaught that's coming that tells you
Mm-hmm.
it's time to like it's the idea that you're about to get back to work that makes you go, oh God, I can't do this. Like, I
Yeah.
don't want to do this. I don't want to go to
And I
spring
don't think
training. I
she
don't
has
want to
that,
go to
Elle.
camp.
I
Yeah.
don't think she has it. I think that she still gets excited about basketball, and she's not so out of whack that she's a detriment to the team.
Right. No, at all.
So like
Yeah, at
she's
all.
playing she's not peak Diana Taurasi, but she's still additive to the team. So like everybody's like she needs to retire. Like okay, fair, and she's not making them worse. So might as well. I say
Well, one
bring back the Phoenix Mercury of 2014 and just make a
run
run
it
for it,
back.
y'all. Throw it back to BG, DT, and Dewana.
Yeah, I mean, listen, she was still averaging 15 points a game last year. She was still an all-star. And yeah, yes, some of that
Still
is because she's
clutch.
D. But like yes, we are judging her by who she was. And anybody
Mm-hmm.
that is in their 40s knows things happen once you reach that milestone. And but the idea that she is somehow an impediment on the team is wild and not true. So I feel like she can still, we saw LeBron putting up still career numbers over the last couple of years. And then it happens very quickly, Ari. Like he's having a tough year, right? Like he's 40 and the slide kind of came quick. Do I trust that LeBron could turn it around and still have huge games in the postseason? Hell yeah. But I think
Mm-hmm.
he's even learning in real time, like, okay, even load management, like I'm in my 40s, like it happens quick. Aaron Rodgers was once a proud quarterback, and then he hits 40 and like it just
It
it
like
goes
comes at you
fast.
quick.
It goes fast. But I think that, to average 15 points a game, she's not turning the ball over a ton.
Mm-hmm.
And she's still dishing. Like what? Why not?
Yeah,
you know?
and if her back can stay in shape, like if her back, it's really her back issues that
Yeah.
have been hurting her the past few seasons. So if she really like focuses on that, puts all of her money and resources into fixing that back, she can play a couple more. Now, do I think that she might need to pull a Simone Augustus and be like, okay, the game, there's more, it's time for me to step away so somebody else can come in? That would be the nice thing to do. But again, I think that if you have a return of DB, so you have DB, BG, and DT together again, that would be so perfect for a send off So even if it's not multiple years, just have one more year of them three together and have a like a reminiscent of 10 years ago. And I think that's
Yeah,
beautiful.
do let him have a farewell tour. I mean,
Yeah.
I hear you so much on the I've heard this a couple of times actually. Like I hear you on the like limited roster space in the WNBA. It'd be nice if DT would move on. But I also just feel like, man, like I feel like we only ask women to do that kind of shit. We
Yeah.
do not ask LeBron James to consider that there's someone in the G League whose spot he's taking. Like we don't do that
Yeah.
to men. You know,
That's
for women,
true.
it's like and like Diana Taurasi has a family to feed. If she wants to come
Mhm.
back
And she
every
does not
year
care
and
what
it's
we ask of her either. She is like, I
correct.
don't care. I'm gonna take that
Right.
max. And I know that's
Right.
right.
Like if she can still contribute, if she can still beat out, someone for a roster spot, like if she, then like she's earned the right to continue to cash that check for as long as she wants and not have to, it's the job of the coaches and the GMs to figure out who's on the roster. It's not her job to sacrifice herself for someone else. I just don't think that we ask men to do that. So she
Yeah.
should play for as long as she wants to because she's just earned that right. Period. That's how I
She
feel.
probably would do it just to laugh at people, be like, ha,
Right.
still here.
Still here. Yeah. Like a grandma. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
With her
with a cane. I want her out there doing
he's
that.
still
In a
pulling up with the
rascal.
cane.
Yeah, she's shooting from a rascal. One of those little like motorbike things that old people ride through the airport. I would love that for her. I would
That's such
love
a
that.
DT thing.
All right, Ari. Well, listen, it was an absolute pleasure to my last show for the week. I am going to Mexico with my family. Pray for
Woo
me. Pray
woo.
for me.
Pray for me.
And I'm super pumped, but I that means that there will be no podcast next week, you guys. So we will pick the show back up on the 23rd of December. It was the 23rd of December. Right before Christmas. Gary will
A
be
day
back,
of-
allegedly. And we'll
He's
do
still
that
in mountain
show.
somewhere.
Yeah, he's probably still somewhere shooting a commercial or doing TikToks with Randy. Who knows? The guy never works. I kid, he works all the time, guys. But thank you so much, Ari, for filling in and hanging with us this week. It's been such a pleasure. And when you're not in the co-host role, you could just come on and hang with your girl. So I hope that
Oh,
you'll
I
do that.
love you, sister.
We can talk more. Once your NC State team makes that run you promised, I want to have you back, boo.
Oh God. Oh dear. State, don't embarrass me. Don't
They're
embarrass me.
not. They've got it. Listen, in Wes, I trust. Ari, you're the best. Thank you. I hope you have a great holiday. And friends, rate, review, subscribe, comment, tell people about the show, but tell them not to expect any shows next week. In fact, don't tell anyone about the show until 2 weeks from now. Cool?